This video is intended to describe both a lightblade talisman named Protection, as well as a lightblade wand named Soaring Eagle. I will go ahead and discuss this exotic derivative of the tried and true transmutation platform that's in wide distribution. I'll go ahead and get straight into it, with the blade band consisting of smoke quartz and hematite, both working in conjunction to make a very strong ground point. Also, this will be my well-utilized, dilapidated, and well-loved crude chakra map for visual reference cue I'll be utilizing. Anyhow, back on target. Smoky quartz and hematite work perfectly in conjunction to ground all excess energy through the root chakra into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix reprocessing to make a very strong purification ground point as the primary focus, which is designed also to mitigate any bombarding, impactful energy that would compromise and dysregulate a natural empathic field's natural flow of order, to ground all this energy and simply insulate the field. And why this is an exotic derivative is certain components deviate from the tried and true platform under specification request. So starting off with the black obsidian arrowhead, makes for another perfect volcanic glass transmuter of negativity and positivity, as well as obsidian is quite effective of mitigating any kind of energy hooks that would attach to the field, as well as being a strong grounder of energy just like smoky quartz, so it works perfectly in tandem. Over here is the lovely turquoise, just like lapis. Both these stones are, I guess you could say, the favorite of millions for thousands of years and antiquity, as well as recorded history, for good reason. Starting off the turquoise being a lovely 5th chakra stabilized ancient grandfather ally, consisting of the elemental spectrum balance of earth, fire, water, and wind, with a 5th chakra focus. So a fantastic 5th chakra boon, as well as a lovely pranic energy stimulant for the entire oxidation of the body, as well as the subtle meridians to an optimal configuration of one's highest truth. Then going into lapis. Lapis is a lovely classic stone of the 5th and 6th chakra wind element stimulant, which makes fantastic for insights and aspects of one's connection to who indeed they are in connection to creation. Then, continuing the transmutation blade band before I get further to where the hood will be eventually installed, is a combination of rose quartz, classic pink ray high heart divine love stimulant, into shungite. Shungite, classic, and actually not very classic, quite actually rather new and quite in vogue in this timeline for tremendous transmutation capacity to ground and purify all energy, much like a charcoal filter based on its carbon-based resonance, and is very effective for mitigating any EMF 5G waves, just like the transmutation platform itself, to ground and purify the excess energy. Then over here, to further the transmutation of this device, is a nice little piece of amber. Amber is actually tree sap that's been fossilized from an older time period. Not technically a mineral, but still a very effective crystalline structure to, once again, transmute negativity into positivity. So of course it works perfectly in harmony tandem with the smoky quartz to be a very effective transmuter of negativity into positivity. That basically summarizes the entirety of this talisman of protection to be a very effective but simple transmuter of negativity into positivity, while being a corresponding Bluetooth to the larger device, which will cover a lot of ground to get there. So the transmutation ratio on both sides seen here continues up the scaffolding right here of, once again, the smoke quartz and hematite circling around, and the apex band where the necklace will eventually go into is hematite and clear quartz. Clear quartz works as a neutral programmable carrier, which makes a very easy compatible resonance with the larger device intended to be in set with the tandem. So that would be the entirety of this core discussed, besides the selenite. Selenite takes the entire structure of this device, acts and also purifies the 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakras, so a fantastic clearing capacity, as well as takes the entire closed-loop algorithm. It will purify all the stones in this sequence. It will harmonize all of them, as well as accelerate. So when you take the trifecta of purification, amplification, and harmonization, it makes for truly grounds for a powerful spiritual tool spirit tool, as well as black kyanite seen on both sides to ensure the transferability of this energy is very well regulated into grounding the excess energy through the root into the earth stars and into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. And the core itself is oak wood from my lovely backyard here in Mount Shasta. Oak is a very dense atomical structure, so perhaps one of my favorite wood cores to utilize based on its dense carbon atomical structure, like I mentioned, is oak for a strengthened platform. So of course, having oak wood being the foundation makes for a great talisman of strength. And that would be the entirety of this guy described. And once this is all said and done, and all these components are notarized, we'll have a little bit of black leather installed to be a color therapy resonant of the black ray to make a very strong protective insulating field, protection, as well as a way to protect the subtle stones underneath here, and to insulate the excess current to give an excess focus of the energy between the 2 points, much like so. So that would be the entirety of protection in basic. Okay, now we're getting straight into this guy, which will take a bit of ground to cover in full notoriety. Okay, so I'll go ahead and discuss the blade band scaffolding. First things first. Just like seen here, the transmutation ratio of, once again, smoky quartz and hematite around this main engine completes the circuit, like so, into this lateral band, like so, up these hand bands concealed underneath the white leather to this lateral band, then recirculates right here and continues the sequence. So the aspect of having the transmutation ratio being a strong grounder of all this energy I'm about to mention as a preface, to bring all the energy through the root into the earth stars, and most importantly, say this quite often, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. So it works as a very fantastic purification platform as the main scaffolding of this energy discussed from this point forward. To give a perfect preface is to purify and, of course, most importantly, keep the contact patch of this energy grounded for the tangibility's sake of a high-frequency conductor. And I'll go ahead and discuss now the primary blade band, which is of what I refer to as the miracle ratio. The miracle ratio, how it got its name, of course, is the conceptual ignition sequence is designed to be in the perfect full electromagnetic spectrum generation that would be, in theory, the realm of miracles, of the entire chakra column ignited in unison, with the heavy domination of golden healer quartz to be the subcapacitator to all the full rainbow spectrum energies. So I'll get more specific about that starting right here. For a neutral acceleration from the blade band right here, there's clear quartz beads going into golden healer quartz. Golden healer quartz is an incredible gold white light, high heart, source connection crystalline Christ frequency emanation that makes for a very fantastic source alignment of the energy field. So I guess you could really argue to say that's probably the primary dominant frequency based on its heavy concentration seen here, as well as a point down here to be a very heavy concentration of gold white light Christ frequency as well. But back on target. So golden healer quartz, then going into ruby. Ruby is perhaps the most powerful stimulant in the red ray of the mineral kingdom for the root chakra, which makes a very fantastic base chakra stimulant based on its 9 out of 10 hardness and being a true precious stone of antiquity and great notoriety of being a very powerful red ray enthusiastic energy of life kind of connotation. Golden healer quartz, then into sunstone. Sunstone's a beneficent stimulant to the sacrum and solar plexus. Pretty much a very lovely cardinal fire stone. There's probably it's one of my favorite fire elemental stones. As a matter of fact, I wear it on a ring almost every day for that purpose. So it's a very sunny, blessings of great notoriety, I guess you could say, for that frequency, and a very effective sacrum stimulant, hence is perfect right here on the ignition order. Then golden healer quartz, then into tiger's eye. Tiger's eye is lovely for stimulating the base, sacrum, and solar plexus, yet aligning the three of them for a very well-stabilized lower 3 energy contact patch, which is very advantageous to have a functional lower 3. It is very much an aspect of great importance for anybody, to be quite simple. Obviously, I say things that are pretty self-evident sometimes in these description videos, but bear with me. Then golden healer quartz into peridot. Peridot is an amazing 3rd and 4th chakra stimulant to bridge the gap between the heart and the will. And it's a fantastic stone of growth, and in my humble opinion, it basically is the impeccable analog frequency of the chlorophyll vibration of growth. So a very fantastic positive cornucopia of energy in that guy as well as being a tremendous abundance stimulator in a lot of ways, and a frequency of increase in these little nuggets of positive power. Then golden healer quartz, then into emerald. Emerald is the king of the green ray stones, hence it's a precious stone of antiquity and notoriety, to be the impeccable green ray heart chakra stimulant of great abundance. Then golden healer quartz into aquamarine. Aquamarine is of the beryl family just like emerald, so it's actually its blue ray cousin, which makes for a perfect natural vibratory transition into the 4th and 5th chakra cardinal water stimulation of the heart's truth being spoken. Then golden healer quartz into lapis lazuli. Lapis is a stimulant of the 5th and 6th chakras, like mentioned on the talisman, and as well as a larger prominent piece found here of wind elemental notoriety, as well as being a stone of legend for many thousands of years now. And like I mentioned before, a stone that is the favorite of millions for thousands of years for a good reason, and is a tremendous stone of one's highest truth, like mentioned, as well as having the ancient Egyptian mystery school connotations well utilized in this frequency, make it pretty special in the collective field of human morphic field memory. Anyhow, golden healer quartz into amethyst. Amethyst is a classic 6th, 7th crown chakra stimulant, hence its purple ray. Then going into golden healer quartz, then going into rose quartz, the classic pink ray stone of divine love correspondence. Then golden healer quartz into ruby, and so on. As a matter of fact, there is a dose of 3 of each frequency through the entire structure, and actually I ran out of room, so even the amethyst and lapis are actually underneath the hood installed into the primary wire to ensure the contact patch ignition of the 3 of each frequency is run through the entire blade band, grounded back into the transmutation lateral band. So with that out of the way, the concept of the miracle ratio of having the entire ignition sequence from red, orange, yellow, to, of course, transference of yellow to green, green, blue, indigo, violet, is the entirety of the chakra column in perfect unison stimulation with the subcapacitation of the golden white light Christ frequency, which makes for a fantastic way to keep the entire unified field stimulated with the Christ-light frequency igniting in between all the points. Hence, I call it the miracle ratio. And it's been rather advantageous and pretty well field tested at this point, so it's always a very good full spectrum emanation because it's so very well balanced. Alrighty. So that'd be the entirety of the primary blade band and the transmutation scaffolding discussed. We'll go ahead and get into the engine now. So first things first, I guess I'll discuss the eagle in the room. Since this blade's name is Soaring Eagle, eagle iconography was quite required, and luckily, thanks to the will of the Force and the beneficence of guidance, this eagle presented itself perfectly. So, you got an eagle, which is obviously a fantastic natural creature of great significance in Native American culture due to its capacity to fly higher, see the most, and the eagle medicine is very powerful medicine in that regard. So the power of the eagle is very well represented in this amazing head that just, of course, I found on a whim after this consultation was concluded, and I was excited to talk about this eventually when the time came to summarize this composition. So there is the Soaring Eagle head. Now that the eagle in the room has been discussed, I'll go ahead and start getting into the engine. which will be quite the story to talk about. Okay, so first things first, I'll discuss the Lumerian Quartz main engine seen right here, which would be the heart of the device, if you would, and the natural resonant program carrier that will work in tandem with the wielder's divine blueprint highest self to, of course, have prayers and intentions resonate in this structure, which, of course, will run through the entire vibratory closed-loop circuit. And as an obvious preface, all these frequencies mentioned from this point forward are on a reactive primary wire of copper, brass, and silver spooled together to be the common ground, which takes all these frequencies and runs it through a very reactive circuit to be a very powerful way to generate vibrational compound interest of this entirety of this entity. And all these crystalline structures discussed of will be like its organs that make up the being of Soaring Eagle. Alrighty. So the Lumerian quartz has been discussed. This is a lovely piece of rutilated quartz, which works like a supercharger for any other frequency and proximity. Rutilated quartz is quartz with rutile bands in it, which actually make a very powerful amplification threshold. So, rutilated quartz next to this guy, and particularly, it's actually mounted directly next to this intentionally, to be the Star Argonite, which is a master healer of the mineral kingdom. Star Argonite is a fantastic stimulant to the entire chakra column, top to bottom, and like I mentioned, a true master healer, as far as I'm concerned, being a calcium-based, full light body stimulant that rapidly but very gently dismantles and clears, like calcium, any patterns, or calcium I should say, any patterns that be inhibiting the fully functional light body to its ideal dharmic configuration. So that is why these guys are oftentimes installed at the very apex of the engine bay, if you would, to have great prominent utilization for the human star archetype fully aligned and activated. And that's precisely why the rutilated quartz is actually wired directly to this to be a tremendous amplification of its natural healing capacity. Then, like I mentioned, golden healer quartz, like I discussed up here and came here earlier, is a fantastic gold-white light Christ source frequency emanation. So that's a very heavy concentration of this device to put the energy of the source configuration in the forefront. I'll go ahead and discuss this lateral band right now. This is rose quartz, like discussed, into clear quartz, into the lovely prehnite. Prehnite is an amazing master healer as well, and a very powerful stimulant to the third and fourth chakras, as well as being an earth and water elemental frequency. I'm getting a little verklempt talking about it. Anyhow, so I consider that a tremendous natural analog frequency to the Raphael force, the great seraphim close to source, and so obviously having a small dose of this in any given reactive circuit goes a very long way with the entirety of the operating system. So a fantastic healer into, once again, rose quartz, and clear quartz to be the neutral accelerant of this band, completing the circuit into the transmutation band. Then another master healer in direct termination with the Star Argonite is Seraphinite. Seraphinite is an incredible, obviously green ray chakra stimulant, yet like Star Argonite, stimulates the entire chakra column in unison and dismantles any patterns of dis-ease that would be not of the highest dharmic source configuration blueprint, and rapidly dismantle those patterns very effectively, very quickly, and hence it's named Seraphinite after the seraphim archangels, has a very powerful seraphic imprintation frequency through the entire morphic field structure. So that is another amazing, incredible healing stone of this age, a true master healer. Hence they're all kind of in the same area to be, vibrational interest ignition, to bring great healing as a backbone of this lightblade wand. Then right here is ruby and zoisite. Ruby, like I already mentioned in great detail with the blade band, is the king of the red ray stimulants. Zoisite is a fantastic heart-mind coherence energizer. So when you take the trifecta of the heart-mind coherence with the base highly stimulated, is dynamic, true potential for a very positive shift to be in the heart-mind coherence and the joy that ruby brings with the raw, fiery, zesty base chakra energy of great enthusiasm, is truly a powerful vibration in its own right. Like I mentioned, even a small dose right here goes a long way through the entirety of the organs of this operating system, as they're all in tandem, working together. Then right here is serpentine from my backyard once again. Serpentine from Mount Shasta, obviously. Makes a very lovely full serpentine energy stimulant as well as cellular respiration through the entire auric field. So that's a very lovely stimulant to the ideal energy configuration in its own right. Then right here is black obsidian, here from Glass Mountain from Mount Shasta. And just like obsidian mentioned on the talisman, a fantastic clear of negativity into positivity. Also, the obsidian is seen up here on the blade face on both sides in arrowhead flinted format, just to kind of save a little time and a little kind of correspondence. So actually I might as well discuss this right now. There are certain aspects that are intentionally staggered, such as root-related quartz seen right here, as well as root-related quartz right here, to give an acceleration from the apex of both ends to, of course, energize and intensify the entire structure in tandem. Just like the obsidian up here, to bring protection purification in tandem with this guy down here, the main engine. Just as a little preface. Alrighty. This right here is actually calcite tumbled by the ocean. So white calcite makes a very lovely clearing capacity to the entire white ray spectrum. And what's great about this calcite particularly that I gathered myself from the ocean on the Oregon coast is the fact that Mother Ocean has literally tumbled this for perhaps who knows how long, thousands of years, who absolutely knows, God knows. And the imprintation of the natural clearing of calcite, of being shaped by the ocean, naturally carries that oceanic clearing imprintation into the entire vibratory broadcast, which is obviously spectacular. Then this right here is Shiva Lingam, a lovely stone from India that's a very powerful Kundalini stimulant as well as carrying the aspects of earth, fire, water, and wind. So it makes a very powerful chakra calm stimulant from top to bottom to be a very healing modality. So obviously a stone of great legend. And it happens to fit perfectly in the crevasse of this smoky celestial quartz. Smoky quartz base, just like mentioned with the transmutation ratio a few times now. The celestial format, though, does bring a certain pitch frequency of aligning the higher self auto-regulation. To put it simply in that regard, you can think of it as a regulator or a dimmer switch to, of course, ensure the exact vibratory contact patch required by whoever wields this device to be in the absolute optimum range to ensure that the situational requirements of whatever's going on based on their higher self blueprint is well grounded and regulated through in real time through the entire auric field matrix. Oftentimes it's kind of hard to describe in these videos the complexity of how powerful these are, but they are sheerly effective in basically ensuring the right vibratory pitch for optimum homeostasis, to put it simply. Okay. Alrighty, so back to the eagle in the room. Next to the eagle is a lovely piece of amber. Like I mentioned on the talisman previously, amber is a fantastic transmuter of negativity into positivity, which works in tandem with everything else. Then this section is rather important to discuss in one shot, so I will do so in discussing the red jasper, the fire agate, moss green agate, and blue lace agate in one shot, since they're all very related in the operating system. Since jaspers and agates are the most stable vibrations in the mineral kingdom, they work in fantastic tandem in the full elemental spectrum. So red jasper stabilizes the root chakra very effectively, perhaps unrivaled mineral kingdom for a stabilized root chakra, which is stabilized earth energy. Then into fire agate, which is the most stable stimulant of the base, sacrum, and solar plexus mineral kingdom of fire energy. Then going into moss green agate to stabilize the heart chakra. Then blue lace agate to stabilize the fifth chakra, both being water elemental. So when you bring the aspect of the whole stabilization of these stimulant points, it makes for a fantastic subroutine for this entire vibratory platform to really get the most out of a stabilized, full, evens, balanced spectrum, which balance is key to anybody. That's pretty obvious. So that's my best answer with vibratory ignition sequence to ensure that contact patch of stability of the elemental spectrum. Alrighty. So moving on to carnelian, a fantastic orange ray stone of the utilization of ancient Egypt, makes for a very fantastic stimulation of the base, sacrum, and solar plexus, which is very advantageous for the well-stimulated lower three chakras, as well as like lapis. It was a stone of great utilization by the ancient Egyptian mystery schools to be a stone of Horus. So very much a sun frequency association throughout the history of the human morphic field. And of course, also even the Prophet Allah used it and set in silver. That was quite famous talisman he used to wear. But that's a whole other story. But anyway, the point is, it's a legendary orange ray stimulant that's very effective for fire energy connotations. Okay. So this guy right here is infinitite. This is a very special variety of serpentine that's only found in South Africa. And it's rather hard to come by these days. And luckily, of course, it's here, so I had access to it from a very special backstock that is not available to the public. That's a little, irrelevant, pardon my digression. But the point is, that's actually really important here, is to have another, just like serpentine mentioned, another full kundalini stimulant of the entire chakra column, yet the infinitite works to decrystallize any patterns that be compromising the base, sacrum, solar plexus, the heart, from that point. So you can think of it as being another very powerful etheric insulation generator on top of it being a kundalini stimulant. So that's very effective for mitigating any kind of crystallized patterns of any kind of dysfunction of the lower three chakras, which would be very advantageous for the purpose of this blade for the recipient. Okay, so this is black tektite. Black tektite is the product of nickel iron meteorite impacting the sand, carrying that extraterrestrial jolt into reality to, of course, have a very powerful boost through the entire system, mimicking that in a crystalline structure of extraterrestrial entry to this earth plane. And how that relates to the chakra column being a black ray stone, it makes a very powerful light body stimulant from the bottom up, the earth stars, all the way to the chakra column in full contact patch, but luckily it's a black ray stone, so that brings actually a strong engagement of the entire energy structure from the bottom to top. So a very powerful light body fortifier in that regard as well. Then a little dose of lightning, seen right here, is another powerful light body stimulant, which is literally lightning striking sand to carry the energy of lightning, which is a very powerful stimulant to the entire chakra column, top to bottom, because it literally mimics the frequency of lightning. So, which is a very powerful intensifier of the entire light body stimulation, as well as a powerful manifestation agent utilized by the medicine women and medicine men of the old First Nation medicine ways to intensify the prayers back to spirit. So even a small dose, like I mentioned a few times at other frequencies, go a long way in a very closed loop reactive circuit. So that would actually be the engine in full notoriety at this point. Like I mentioned, up the handle of the oak core, this is oak of course, just like the talisman, as well as this subcore actually is Palo Santo, which I had the privilege to shape into form and bolt it via screws into the primary oak core. I'm glad I mentioned that before, I forgot about it actually. So the Palo Santo, of course, is a very legendary holy wood as it translates into English and smells absolutely delicious. It has a very amazing frequency to use as the subcore for this entire engine section. So that is indeed set on Palo Santo. And, like I mentioned, the transmutation ratio of smoky quartz and hematite continues all the way up the handle, right here, to the lateral band. Then, going straight into the thumb engagement, I'll discuss that right away before I discuss the blade face. Go ahead and use this prop to hold it up for this little part of the dissertation. Alrighty. So the core of this right here is Libyan gold tektite. Libyan gold tektite was an amazing discovery quite a while ago now, and was utilized by ancient Egyptian mystery schools, particularly the Pharaoh Magi cast, to actually have this carved into a scarab beetle that would be one of the central power pieces of their power breastplates that was indicative as a badge of their office as Magi God King. So that has a pretty legendary connotation right there. But how it relates into a vibratory output ignition is that this is a cardinal fire elemental frequency that has a very amazing intensive stimulation to the sacrum and solar plexus, as well as having full light body connotation activations simultaneously as well. So how that works too, of course, by having such a powerful, virtually unrivaled fire celestial energy as the primary thumb engagement, with also being a very powerful, highlighted, optimized sacrum, which would make it basically impervious to imprintation residues. So the aspect of the sacrum being a receptive chakra is where energy, raw radial energy, can be, of course, bombarded in the system and stored, and causing various physical ramification malfunctions, if you would. So Libyan gold tektite also serves as a fantastic psychic protection frequency, which I pretty much actually omit quite a bit in other videos describing this stone, but obviously for the connotations of this frequency, it's really important to highlight these features as well. So that frequency, Libyan gold tektite, is a very powerful, also divine will aligner. So truly a stone of ancient Magi, God Kings, and so obviously it's a very regal stone of great power and sovereign empowerment, quite simply. Then, to continue the legendary vibrations, would be the lovely little piece of moldavite. Even a small piece goes a long way through the whole structure. And so moldavite is a fantastic green ray stone associated with the Holy Grail, and is a very powerful green ray stimulant in connection to source in a rather powerful, profound way, and perhaps one of the more famous magical stones in this timeline at this point. And so synchronicities, source alignment, things of that nature are very much the realm of moldavite. To ensure the highest heart connection to the spiritual resonance, or the heart of the force, if you would be ensured by that contact patch of moldavite. Then the blade band power pack around Libyan gold tektite and the moldavite is starting off with red jasper, once again, just like seen down here. Red jasper, of course, like I mentioned, is a great stabilizer of the root chakra. Going into clear quartz, seen right here. Try to get the right ignition sequence. Clear quartz, then into turquoise. Turquoise, like I mentioned before, a great fifth chakra, full harmonized stabilizer and stimulant. Then to clear quartz, then like I mentioned a few times now, lapis lazuli. So that'd be the engagement sequence of this entire closed loop thumb engagement. Alrighty, now move that guy back, and once again, like I mentioned with the thumb engagement turquoise, here's a lovely piece of turquoise also installed right behind this selenite to have another dose of that lovely fifth chakra, ancient grandfather ally focus of wholeness. So now we'll discuss the blade face components, which are as identical as humanly possible to have the most even ratio conceivable. Starting off with scolecite. Scolecite is an amazing white ray 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical higher chakra stimulant that is very calming to the mind. You can think of it as being a very powerful higher self, witness self that transcends the aspects of the ego-mind identity very effectively in a very divine wholeness way, as well as being a fantastic agent to ensure the perfect serotonin chemical levels in the neural pathways of the physical brain. So this stone I utilize quite frequently in most light tech as blade facing for this purpose, to bring a nice frequency of divine white light through the contact patch in a very obvious dose. And behind that, seen on both sides, is the lovely legendary shungite. Actually, this is a noble elite variety of shungite, which is a little more prestigious, you could say. But like I described in the talisman, shungite is very much in vogue in this timeline for being very famous as a EMF mitigator or any kind of 5G subtle radiations by turning bad vibes into positive vibes through the transmutation process. So having a dose of that on both sides ensures more vibratory protection for the subtle DNA, as well as being another transmuter of negativity into positivity. Then, like I've mentioned a few times now, lapis lazuli, seen both sides here, lovely, legendary, ancient Egyptian mystery school frequency, and quite lovely and quite famous, quite favorited by millions or thousands of years. Nice little heavy dose of it. Then going into sunstone hearts, seen on both sides, like previously mentioned right here on the primary blade band, a larger dose of sunstone goes a long way to bring a truly beneficent energy through the entire energy matrix of the, once again, sacrum and solar plexus fire stimulation, which is a very big blessing. And not to mention, having the stimulation of the sunstone being a intensive focus dramatically brings the sacrum to a very optimized fun energy, so it's very much a frequency of extreme joy as well. So hence I wear it pretty much every day, just about, for this very sunny disposition to keep things positive and keep the energy going in a good way. And black obsidian, like mentioned down here before, once again, a transmuter of negativity and positivity in a very protective frequency field, and also, not to mention, obviously a stone utilized by First Nation tribes for quite a while, and makes for a fantastic rendition into any given construct. Then at the very apex, like I mentioned a couple times now, rutilated quartz works as a very powerful accelerant for this entire closed loop circuit. So naturally, since it's in termination to the selenite, which is a striation, which basically runs current very evenly directly, but the whole point of the blade band is to recirculate the energy for a figure eight energy momentum. And having the rutilated quartz here brings a nice little intensification as a whole to the very apex of the blade. Then next to that is a very special piece of tourmalated quartz. So clear quartz, like I mentioned, both these is a neutral accelerant or program carrier or ambient enhancer. So having a natural bolt of black tourmaline in the structure, of course, will also intensify the energy of tourmaline, which is another black-gray lovely grounder to ensure transmutation cycle of negativity and positivity by making a very strong grounded arc bypass, if you would, into the earth for constant reprocessing in a very reactive way. So by amplifying these two together brings a very nice extreme purification ratio to a highlighted focus. Then I'll go ahead and discuss the selenite on the core up here. Oftentimes in these videos I save this for last to be a summary. So the selenite by itself works as a fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakra connection back to like the higher source Godhead, which is a fantastic key to the higher self. And also clears any densities from the auric field that be inhibiting the natural energy flow. But where it really shines in any given spirit tool is the capacity of taking all these stones I've mentioned in roughly 38 minutes. Actually, I'm including that talisman. Digression. Back on target. But taking this entire frequency of everything mentioned, it will purify everything in the ignition sequence. It will harmonize everything in the ignition sequence, and then amplify everything in the ignition sequence. So we take the aspect of, once again, harmonizing, purifying, and amplifying this entire crystalline structure. It makes for the grounds for a very fantastic spirit tool to be in very well harmonized, amplified tandem. And for this rendition, I omitted the use of the blue, orange, and green kyanite that usually be here to keep the transferability focus of black kyanite on the highlight. So what that means is taking the entire frequency pitch mentioned thus far, kyanite is a very effective transferability of energy through reality. So taking this entire construct and giving the black kyanite only configuration ensures the entire energy of this rapidly takes the excess focus of the energy and rapidly grounds into the earth. Based on its black ray transferability, it takes all this energy, but most importantly, directs the current to stimulate the base and the earth stars for maximum grounded contact patch, which makes a very reactive grounding focus, which is going to be rather fantastic for the goal, of course, of taking this entire miracle ratio construct, Soaring Eagle, and grounding it into tangibility, and most importantly, just to really keep the focus through the earth stars, and most importantly, ground this all out very quickly. So back here, these would be the focalizers to take all the excess figure energy and give it a energy focus of titanium aura quartz. Titanium aura quartz is a fantastic full rainbow light body stimulant to be a very strong rainbow light body emanation that also is very protective to the entire auric field, as well as being a very strong vibration to take the excess energy and give a focus. Then right here, as the focalizers right here at the very business end of the blade, if you would be the lovely green adventuring, which is a fantastic green ray stimulant, also known as the stone of great luck or stone of the gambler, actually, due to its being very lucky in receptivity to abundant streams. So that'd be basically the excess focus of the energy for this entire device, which serves to focus the energy when engaged, like so. Got my tree buddy back here to direct the current straight into the tree, like so, to be the primary focus of this energy to, of course, run through those focus points of directing the current. And I believe that would be the entirety of the lightblade wand in full notarization. All right. So a very, very fun fact that will be installed after this video will be this white leather insulator back here, which will have many purposes, kind of like so, to be a way to, of course, further insulate and consolidate the energy through the focus, B, protect all the stones stacked in the terminations down here, and C, be a color therapy full white light ray spectrum emanation diffuser, which will, of course, work more as a functional component than aesthetics, obviously. But also, once that's all said and done and that's installed, a very, very special medallion will be installed. This right here is a sun and moon. The recipient will know, of course, the deep meaning behind that, and this is a very good way to set that homage in stone, to have the balance of the sun and the moon, then to have the ignition sequence of the stabilized endurance ratio. I've utilized this ratio quite a few times to be a very successful stabilized and stimulated root chakra emanation, consisting of red jasper, clear quartz to be a neutral subcapacitator accelerant, into ruby. So when you combine these two together, it makes a very effective dynamic stimulation of the ideal root chakra, but most importantly also a stabilization of the two. So when you get those two together, it makes a very fantastic fortification to the root chakra. Hence it's also on the sun and the moon, which is very, very notarized and very special, which I will omit for privacy's sake. But once it's all said and done, and this is installed like so, these leads, seen right here, will be grounded into this lateral band of the prehnite, clear quartz, and rose quartz. Then this lead will be grounded into the transmutation ratio. So, of course, it will be its own circular subpack to have a prevalent, powerful root chakra activation as part of the badging. Probably on the other side of the eagle to kind of keep things even. Most likely, once it's all said and done. Let's take a little look. Probably something like that, actually. And so, yes, that would be the sun and the moon with the red ray stimulation as the primary overbadging of a circular subcircuit, which will, of course, be part of the continuity contact patch. So I believe that would actually be everything discussed in great scope and scale. So in summary, this set, both the Protection Talisman and the Soaring Eagle Wand, will be a very tremendous full spectrum rainbow emanation boost to, God willing, serve the recipients very well as they continue the life journey, so to speak, and to do it in a very well harmonized, balanced, full emanation, which should be a very big blessing, God willing, in the entire life stream of this household. And to, of course, have a contained, focused, compatible frequency to, of course, take this entire compatible resonance, like a Bluetooth accessory, if you would, and have the aspect of all this exotic frequency discussed thus far, and to transfer in constant contact patch with a very protective grounded frequency generator. I believe that would be the entire conclusion of both Protection and Soaring Eagle in great notoriety. 1,000 blessings, and may the force be with us all.